You know what? I've heard of a cold open, but this is ridiculous. And welcome to Coffee Anyone, the show from the heart of the Mountain State, which brings people together, or at least tries to bring people together. If you saw our last episode, it did end in a little bit of a bar fight here and there, but we all shook hands when the camera was off, and that's all that matters. We have a phenomenal show for you today, two highly esteemed, very talented, incredible guests, and of course we are right in the middle of Sweet Alicious in beautiful downtown Buchanan, and thank you to Sweet Alicious for providing us with not only the space, but also the ice cream and the hot chocolate. The hot chocolate is, how you say, mwah. But first, let me introduce the man who invented this whole thing, Dr. Ali Khan.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll applaud for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll applaud for you.
Well, this is a Valentine's Day special. So I would like to thank a few people before I introduce you with our guest. I would like to thank Spike. Spike, I got you a present, a Valentine's Day present.
Did you?
Yes,
I didn't get you anything.
Yes. Well, I was hoping you will.
I'll get you a Christmas gift.
Okay, all right. So I got you this.
Oh, look at that.
Scotland! Yes. Scotland!
A bumper sticker. Fantastic.
Yes, and I left the price on it, so I'm going to have to take that out.
Okay, that's
that
right.
would be that's my son's fault. He always does that. So here you go, sir.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank
and
you. Love it.
To my son, he's also the producer.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a few other folks I'd like to thank. Yeah. Allison Harrison is our roving reporter.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who else we got as our ad manager?
Who?
Oh, I don't know. His name is Adam.
Yes.
Moyer.
We're working on that.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh, yes. Yes. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
It's tricky. Facebook is a fickle.
Yeah. So it's working on it. We're working on it. So that
Great.
will be coming in. So here's my guest, Adam Moyer and Kiara Williams.
Well, hello. Thank you.
So Adam, I have known you for a little while. I just
right.
knew about Kiara about a year ago, but I've known you before. And Adam, I first thought was maybe a computer guy. He was maybe worked in a vice president of some big company.
Right.
And then I find out he's a musician.
Oh.
So I was impressed. So I went ahead and checked him out on YouTube, and he is fantastic. So you guys are in for a treat.
Well, thank you very much.
Does he have credentials? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, he has credentials.
Okay.
He does have credentials.
Well,
He's a good guy. So tell us a little bit about this group. And the main question I have is Key to Adam.
That's right.
What does that mean?
All right. So it's kind of a multi-layered name, to be honest. It started off where it's an easy choice. Kiara has a nickname. Her nickname is Key. And
Buchanan, West Virginia.
That's right. You got to be prepared for everything. Her nickname is Key, and I always had trouble saying her first name to begin with. I'm from New Jersey, so my R's and A's aren't great. So I would call her Key all the time when I first met her, and so we went with Key to Adam. So it wasn't that creative, but there's a lot more to it than that. When we first met, I didn't really play full songs necessarily. I had a few, but I just did it as a way to meditate. I did it as a way to heal and get better and feel better, and to sleep and just to. I used that as more medicine than anything else. And at one point, somebody said it sounded good enough to start playing plays, so I just went around playing plays. But when I met Kiara, she added a different layer to it that I would never have been able to add myself without just recording and doing something else. But she just added something that I just couldn't capture myself. And the best part is she came from a fiddle background, and she plays violin now, but she still has that fiddle soul to the sound of what she does, which really gives it just a beautiful sound that it's hard to replicate.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So I've listened to some of your music, and one of the songs that I really liked, and maybe I can put on a request right now,
Of course.
is Whiskey Before Breakfast.
Okay.
That's one of my favorites too. That's truly one of my favorites.
It is. And whatever songs I've heard, they just really relax you. So if anybody is depressed, under stress, anything like that, just listen to their songs and you will feel really relaxed. Get a puppy, hug a puppy, and then listen to their song and you will be in good shape. So
I do appreciate
now,
that.
where did you guys meet?
Well, we actually met at one of your sponsors, the Do Re Mi.
Yeah.
And
Great people.
yeah, really great. I love that place. And so when I first moved to the area, I again, the music that I played was more for meditation. So I tried to play at some open mics, but they were, 2 a.m. at the K-Lounge, which is great. And I went to them, and I had a lot of fun. But for my type of music, I was just putting people to sleep, I felt. And I was putting myself to sleep, because 2 a.m. is way past my bedtime.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
People need to sleep.
But not before they drive home.
Good point.
So it just the time and place just was a little off for what I did, and I wanted to try to incorporate different types of musicians. As much as I love hearing somebody wail out on an electric guitar, I wanted to hear violins. I wanted to hear accordion. Like, I didn't care. I just wanted to see other types of musicians. I'd always played in my room before I went to bed, or if I couldn't sleep, I would just play through the night. So just getting out and seeing other musicians was a new experience for me to begin with. And so we had ours. It was between 4 and 6, I think. 4 and 7 in the afternoon, which just encouraged people to come after school if they wanted to, or they could, people that might have a bedtime of 9 o'clock, they could, So that's what Ron Pugh was the gentleman. He came to every single one. He was one of our biggest supporters, and he actually convinced Kiara to come.
While.
It did. It took months of convincing, and Kiara finally came. And I used to, if nobody else showed up or if it was my turn to play, I would encourage others to play along, because again, just from always having played solo, it was just neat to see what other people would do with what I was doing. I never really had that, that kind of thing. So, so Kiara started playing along with just a chord progression. It wasn't even a song, and it was more a warm up than anything else, and it just blew my mind. And the room just went silent, and it was one of those moments that you'll never forget.
Right.
It was fun. And we actually got hired to record that, as the person was making a documentary, like a Buchanan local documentary, but they hired us to record it, and we had to say it's not actually a song, we just met.
Right.
And so we tried to duplicate what we did, and it actually came out really well, and that's one of our favorite songs to play, in fact. But that was the start. That was about 3 years ago, and we've had our ups and downs. We've had some shows where things didn't go great, and then things just started to go, and
It comes together. It
Oh,
comes together.
absolutely,
Eventually,
yeah.
it comes together. Kira, how did you get into playing violin and getting into this group?
Okay, so in 3rd grade, my mom showed me a video of Charlie Daniels playing Devil Went Down in Georgia, and I was like, I want to do that. But I couldn't start yet because my elementary school didn't have a strings program, so I had to wait till I was in 6th grade. So I waited till I was 6th grade, and I started playing the violin, and then I wanted to do the fiddle part, like the old time music.
Right.
But my teacher was strictly classical, so I started teaching myself the fiddle side, and then I met you. Ron told me to come to the open mic.
And that was it. But before she met me, though, she was actually the 2015 West Virginia Junior Fiddle Champ.
Wow.
So that was she took that title, and so we still do fiddle music, as you know, the Whiskey Before
Right.
Breakfast.
Well,
I
then I
didn't
had to do
interrupt
one
it,
of
yeah.
those.
I think so.
Of course. Oh yeah.
Play that square dances.
You still did talk about the square dances, yeah.
In Weston, they have at the senior center, they have a square dance there, and I go and play in there and then jam and dance. Yeah, it's really fun.
It's great. It is.
Well, I'm glad you guys are really into the music. I mean, I can see that you
Yeah.
guys really, and maybe into each other, into the music. And
Well, Valentine's Day edition in my head.
Yeah, that is
I
very
think it's
nice.
pretty obvious that it is. I mean, it would be hard not to be, just because what we do when we play the music, and if you ever notice, we get into it with the music. But it's such an experience. I don't even know how to really explain it. Where I don't think I could even consider anybody. You know, does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
You guys
just
click
it
together
just
very
clicked.
well.
And it wasn't just the music. The craziest part is, I don't know if you know that nursery rhyme, that whole Jack Sprat could eat no fat. Whole
His
thing.
wife could eat no lean. Yeah.
Sure. Well, if you took a chicken that they serve you at any restaurant, the pieces that she hates are the pieces that I love.
Right.
And the pieces that I hate are the pieces that she loves.
Very romantic.
So we legitimately
romantic.
clean
That's how
that
it works
plate
out.
just like Jack Sprat does. It's pretty wild. And that goes into the key to Adam. Like honestly, at the time
I
I
can
also
see that, yeah.
I also met her at a time when I was really not in good shape. Mentally, I guess the best way to put it. And I needed someone like her in my life at that point, if that makes any sense as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and it wasn't like it wasn't even really a physical thing. I mean, I don't mean the physical attraction. I just mean it was just that personality, that just joy. I don't know how to explain it really, but it was what I needed at the time.
Right.
That's
And the
great.
music. So
That is
it was,
great.
it was kind of a whole thing.
That is fantastic. That's a great story.
Thank
now,
you.
how did you end up here from New Jersey?
So when I finally graduated high school, my mom did not want to live in cities anymore. She had it with just felt claustrophobic, and it's you know it can be harrowing to live up there. And so she had moved to West Virginia, and
But
And
why
I-
West Virginia? Why did she decide West Virginia?
it was she wanted to be in the mountains, and she didn't want to
Okay.
be too far from New Jersey. So she had friends that had moved here.
Okay.
There seems to be a pretty decent New Jersey contingent here. There's like an Italian contingent that came down. I think was that the '60s, maybe the '70s. I don't know. But so she just kind of felt more at home.
They wanted to get out of the hippie scene.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. But so she had moved here, and I kind of struck out, and I actually did. I was in banking at one point for a number of years, and I don't want to say I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the proceeds from it, but I never. It didn't really ever. Wasn't what I wanted to do, and so I had some tumultuous times with medical issues and back issues, and as you know, and so when I had to kind of restart my life, I tried to go that route again, and I didn't have it in me anymore. I couldn't fake it.
So you found out that this is what you are good
This is
at,
what I'm good at.
and this is what you enjoy,
This is what I enjoy.
and you found somebody who you enjoy it with.
That's pretty much
That's the Valentine's Day
I don't know.
message.
I don't know if there's
There
any
you
other
go.
Do you have
messages
any
out there.
questions from my friend?
I do. And this is going to sound like a terribly insulting question. I have very little experience with you guys, apart from just what I saw when you were performing. What, as an outsider, would I expect to get from if I come in and see you guys perform? What do I expect?
So the one thing I would say is, as Dr. Khan said, I can't guarantee it, I guess, but I would say your blood pressure would definitely normalize within about 3 minutes.
I'll guarantee it.
Thank you. Doctor recommended.
And he's got the cuff to prove it.
I was gonna have to say the FDA doesn't approve this statement, but now we got at least the doctor approval.
Doctor,
Hey.
yeah,
But no, honestly,
it did.
it's the way that,
Have
and
a
because
comfortable conversation.
that's right. To give you an idea, when we first, after that first day that we met, I had never met anybody that could practice as long as I could either. And we would practice 6 hours. We averaged for 6 months. We practiced 6 hours a day, at least. Some days were 10, some were 4, that kind of thing. But her mother drove her down. We practiced nonstop, and the thing I would say, it's that type of music that I feel like if it's in the background all day long, it wouldn't even be a problem. Like that's the kind of music we try to play.
Right.
And we also, our goal is to keep the volume at a range where you can come. Like we don't play 9 to midnight. We play 5 to 8, and we play while people eat. And our goal is to provide ambient music that makes you feel good, but that you can have a conversation over without needing to raise your voice.
Right.
And that's what we shoot for.
I like that. Now, as a foreigner, this is one of these questions which I'm sure has a
No
simple
foreigner here.
I know, but you may know the answer to this. I don't know. That I've always wanted to know the difference between a violin and a fiddle.
You were gonna
There you
ask
go.
that.
I'm glad.
Because-
There you go.
It just seems like the same thing to me. I mean, is it not the same instrument?
They're the same instrument.
Okay.
It's just depending on how you play it. The
Okay.
fiddle side, you play more strings than once, and then the violin, it's just like strictly like one string.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fiddle's
And you
probably a
and
lot
you can-
faster too.
Yeah, and you can tune the fiddle different.
Okay.
There are times where you tune it different, but
Right.
It's mostly
but
standard, but
mostly. But you can tune it
but you
differently.
can
nowadays,
tune it
yeah.
different.
Interesting.
Like the
okay.
old timers, they would.
It's pretty
tune
wild.
them
And actually,
different.
not for nothing, but we might as well mention her instrument because it
Yeah.
really is amazing. It's her instrument was made in Austria in 1794.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's another show in itself.
that's
Right?
yeah.
A whole show on the
That's
on the
just
fiddle.
the fiddle.
instrument.
I always do wonder, like, because honestly, you hear stories about people having to hide in walls during the wars.
Yeah.
And, like, I wonder what story this fiddle had.
It's
now
had a
it's a
life.
fiddle now. I assume when it was built, it was a violin. That's our joke.
Right.
But they weren't making very many fiddles in Austria. But
That's incredible.
it's wild. Now she's got it signed
By
by.
Charlie Daniels and Chance McCoy
There
from
you
the
go.
Old Crow Medicine Show.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Charlie Daniels again. That was her inspiration. So.
And I
she's
also
like-
have a bow from him
Yeah.
too.
Ah,
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
My daughter plays viola, strangely enough,
Oh, there you go. Nice.
and she mentioned Charlie Daniels as well. And I'm like, you're listening to Charlie Daniels? Really? Okay. Okay. You know, listen to what you like.
There is some excellent talent.
Yeah.
So are we ready to play some music?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. weddings, and so we get a lot of requests for love songs, which really does help the fact that this is the Valentine's edition. And the next one is John Legend's "All of Me," which was one we got requested to walk down it. Yeah. So this is one of my favorites. Here we go. So we call this A Force Matters, which is a combination of our Star Wars favorite part and our Nothing Else Matters. Here we go.
Bye.